Hello, and welcome to Retcast Transformers Talk. So, as of making this episode, the show Transformers Titans Return has officially concluded, and oh my, what the hell did they do? This is not a review, more of picking the series apart and discussing what they could have done better. So let's start this up. So, from the start, this series does something that they kind of did in Robots in Disguise 2015, and that's how in the start, Optimus wanted nothing to do with any of this, but after some convincing, he came back. Unlike what happened in RID, having Prime in this show was unavoidable and is a good thing. Windblade is still around, but she has less of an action role, and the only role that she really had was to talk to Metroplex and Fort Max. The fight between Metroplex and Trypticon in whatever episode it was, I think it's 3 or 4, was slow and boring and bland. Another pointless thing was when the Mistress of Flame just sends out the Seekers, I don't remember how many, to take down Trypticon, and they fail right off the start. I really think that the lack in the amount of characters they put in the show is really bad. There are a lot of Transformers in the Titans Return toy line, and though I was not expecting them all to be in the show, it would have been nice to see those Headmaster characters like Chrome Dome and Highbrow in the show. I feel that was partially the point of making the Titans Return line and bringing back that kind of Headmaster-esque gimmick for the toys. If you want to compare to Combiner Wars, all the combiners in the toy line for Combiner Wars were in the show, and this is probably why they didn't put that many other characters in Titans Return. I like having Perceptor in the show, as he is not in many Transformers media up until this point. Optimus and Megatron are still there from the past series, although Megatron has a few moments that make him act a little bit like the Decepticon he used to be. Then all the combiners get mad at him, and then he has to explain what he was trying to do was in the best interest of everyone. I did think that it was interesting having the remains of Starscream from the end of Combiner Wars be what brings Trypticon back to life. Another thing I didn't like is that Victorion does this thing where she and the other combiners use the Enigma of Combination to become like one combiner. That way this shows they show Victorion a bit larger and all purple and shiny. Yet, with all that, she's still no match for Trypticon. One thing I didn't see coming at all involves the introduction of a new character. They introduced Overlord in the show with a southern accent for some reason, but that's not a problem. And they have him go and kill the Mistress of Flame about halfway through the series. Seeing Overlord for the first time in this series, well, for me, any series, since I never watched Super God Master Force or Victory, or really any of the Japanese G1 stuff, was very surprising, as I said. But of course, Megatron is blamed for the death of the Mistress of Flame, since he was by her side as she was dying. And, he's the leader of the former Decepticons. But that's really all we get of Overlord till the last couple episodes. This show had a bit of an odd turn as well at the start, where Rodimus Prime, after failing one time, decides he's not worthy of the Matrix of Leadership and takes it back to... Okay, I don't remember where he takes it. But yeah, so Rodimus goes back to being Hot Rod and takes the same vehicle form as the toy version of Hot Rod in the Titans Return line. So now no one holds the Matrix of Leadership. I don't know. I don't understand the decision to have this happen, but they did it anyway. Now, there are times where they spend an episode focusing on setting up stuff for the next series, Power of the Primes. Episode 5 is a prime example of this, and of course the last episode is, but that is the purpose of the final episode, which is what we're going to talk about next. The final episode was just amazing, and holy crap, I can't believe how amazing it was. We get an appearance of none other than Megatronus, voiced by Mark Hamill, aka The Fallen, and the Prime that Megatron named himself after. There are some pure genius in this episode. Megatron starts this banter with the Fallen, saying how he made the Decepticons in his image, and then once the Fallen notices him, Megatron tells the Fallen that they lost, and it was pretty funny, because he's like, we fucking lost, or we damn near lost, or whatever he says. Then the Fallen tells them to, actually, Fort Max and Optimus try to attack the Fallen, then that fails because the Fallen's too powerful. I mean, he's a damn Prime, for God's sake. Then the Fallen tells everyone to enjoy their last days because he's coming to destroy everything, I would imagine. Then we get the usual blame Megatron for what seemed like him trying to restart the Decepticons and Combiners getting up on him till he explains he was trying to stall and give Optimus and Fort Max time to attack. The last big thing we see is Overlord and a black-colored Rodimus looking at what just happened. I know that Overlord had a type of Decepticon matrix and stuck it in Hot Rods, so yeah, that episode was great and starts the hype for Power of the Prime series. This episode did pretty much everything right. There are some issues with some of the character models. Overlord looks more like an animated version of the toy, as does Hot Rod's vehicle mode. I also said this in a different video that they don't show Trypticon's transformation into his base mode, rather they just show a bunch of smoke, do the classic transformation sound effect, and then remove the smoke and show the base mode. It's Transformers, for God's sake. We want to see some transformations. I'd say that Titan's Return was a definite improvement over Combiner Wars and did a good job to set up Power of the Primes, especially with that killer last episode. I'm excited to see what will go down in Power of the Primes, despite the fact that I still hate Go 90, but I got away with watching Titan's Return in other ways, and that was satisfactory to me. This show was not perfect, just as Combiner Wars is not perfect, but I don't think that Power of the Primes will be perfect. There are things that they can still improve upon moving forward, and I really hope they do. But that's all I have to say, so if you want to add to the conversation, leave a comment below. As always, thanks for listening, and goodbye.